we're watching the GOAT for Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani is back. Even though he never really left. Just like he doesn't leave anyone on base right now. There's been a big deal made about his at-bats recently where the bases are empty versus when he's got his teammates on the base paths. Ohtani, though, another first in the history of baseball. He is now, 17 hits in his last 20 at-bats with runners in scoring position. No one's ever done that in the regular season, postseason, doesn't matter. At any point in baseball, the closest was 16 for 19. And now, of course, it's Ohtani who makes the new look routine. Going into Game 3 last night for the Dodgers, he's 4 for 5 with a homer, pair of walks with runners in scoring position this postseason. 6 for 8 with a homer and 3 walks with runners on base. And 0 for 19 with the bases empty. I believe it got up to 0 for 21, maybe 22, 0 for 21. And then he has this moonshot. 2 were on when he hits this massive homer, and the Dodgers end up winning 8-0. And it's a win for Major League Baseball, too. They want the Dodgers in the World Series. Make no mistake about this, because that means Ohtani is going to be in the World Series. Game 5 of the NLDS saw over 7 million viewers tune in across the United States. Nearly 13 million watched from Japan. And as Joe Pompliano points out, that means 10% of Japan's entire population is watching this game, the NLDS against the Padres, at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Ohtani is one of a kind. And he's one of a kind everywhere. Because watching him makes me feel like I'm watching a new moment in history. And I touched on this a couple weeks back now. Because for a few minutes, Major League Baseball felt special again while I'm getting ready for Thursday Night Football and a pregame coverage. I forget which week this was. SportsCenter decides to cut in live to Ohtani's 7th inning at bat at the time. And I watched him become the first 50-50 player in baseball history. And everything about that moment was great. The play-by-play call, the record, of course, the box score, greatest game we've seen played for an individual player. And ESPN's decision to go to it live in the moment. And then thanks to Ohtani, the dude delivers. And he delivers one-of-a-kind Major League Baseball moments. That game, by the way, he was 6 for 6, 10 RBI, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases. And once again, even last night, you've got Ohtani doing something that no one really believed anyone would ever do, but then he just recalibrates a level of greatness for the game of baseball. Yes. Am I watching the greatest player? I absolutely believe so. By and large, though, I don't think that in the moment, the average sports fan, and I'm guilty of this and I've tried to be better at it, I don't think the average sports fan watches the sport that they love, or any sport for that matter, and in the moment they're going, you know what, I'm watching true history. I'm watching the greatest. We did that with Brady. Brady's the GOAT, right? But, I was at the time covering an NFL team, the Titans here in Nashville. Did that for 16 seasons. And you've got Mike Munchak as the head coach at one point, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Not my era. Kevin Mawai was. And he's a center that comes from the Jets, plays for the Titans. In the moment, not at any point did it cross my mind that he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He is. And he's deserving of it, but I'm not watching it from that perspective. I'm trying to be better at that now. And I'm rooting for the storyline. I'm rooting for the moment more than I am the stat line, the score, the box score, the result. I want to see the storylines. The storyline in Major League Baseball is Shohei Ohtani. And while I never thought I'd be like, yeah, I want the Dodgers to win, I want the big payrolls to win, I want Shohei Ohtani to win. And that means a win for Major League Baseball. What's been a winning season for Major League Baseball? All the rules adjustments The timing of the games now, attendance is up by and large across the board. You've got ratings that are solid, and you've got an entertaining product. And the entertainer of all the entertainers puts on a show and delivers every time you expect him to when you tune in, unless no one's on base. But again, we're making too much of that. Mookie Betts said as much. He was like, look, it's 20 at-bats, no big deal. Although you do have Dave Roberts, who's like, it's good to see Ohtani maybe gain some confidence in the postseason. That's bad for the Mets, but great for what could be a spectacular run through October for the GOAT. But I don't think many baseball fans, the purists, they're not going to like that. They're not going to embrace that because I think we always look to the previous generation that we didn't see and follow that path. You can do the transition from football to baseball is bizarre to me at how we view steroids, sports wagering, and the GOAT, because everyone's still going to point to the past when in the present we're watching true greatness. Davey Hudson with us today as well. Davey, your take, your reaction to what I'm saying here. I think we're watching the true greatness, even though like it's the aura of Babe Ruth or whoever you want to put in here. I can buy into the what I've been told, but I didn't get to see this, and this is spectacular.
Well, that's the thing with baseball, where the stats go back to well over 120 years, and so there's over a century's worth of guys you can look at and try to pull these numbers from. And what we're seeing him do is just not been done. And I keep going back to the fact that the guy's playing hurt. We're not even seeing half of his game, and yet he's still setting these records. He's not just an American icon, he's an international icon for the sport. The big thing for me, Hut, going back to earlier this year, is how close we were to not even seeing this take place. If you go back to the gambling allegations for Mizuhara, the fact that what happens if they do find a way to tie Ohtani to that, and MLB,
they were going to find a way.
Yes, with them looking at how much of an impact he has made for their bottom dollar, for them to have to go away or to go back in time and say man, we got to do whatever it takes to make sure this guy is able to skate by without any blemishes on that record whatsoever. But just from a pure baseball standpoint, it's electric every time the guy steps to the plate. You automatically assume he's going to get a hit, and he's still in the prime of his career. The guy's only 30. We're still, I expect another 6-7 years of him at this level. And, playing for the Angels for the previous part of his career, he now gets to a team that is capable of going all the way. And it looks as though that's going to be the case. And right now, the Dodgers are the odds-on favorite, in my opinion, to win the World Series. The other thing to this, too, is just if I'm a Dodgers fan, you just know you're set up forever. And again, it's another loophole that they need to close, but the guy's not even taking that much of a contract because he's deferred it. So more power to those fans because, it's a great spot.
Yeah, and well said. I look at it, too, like this. Major League, I've been critical of Major League Baseball because they do not embrace the younger audience through the social platforms very well, right? They don't like the vlogs. They don't like they hated Trevor Bauer for doing this whenever he would take us behind the scenes. The COVID year of MLB with Bauer and the Reds was phenomenal access, going through every protocol baseball hated that. Many teammates hated that because it's a sacred clubhouse. Okay. But the thing is, Aaron Judge is also living up to the big money, right? Where's Aaron Judge on the platform of national spokesman for national commercial products compared to what the NFL stars do? Baker Mayfield, even prior to this season when he's been on fire, is a spokesman for products. I don't see Judge. Shohei Ohtani can certainly do that. But the thing that Ohtani brings to baseball, they can't screw this up because he's the global superstar and it's undeniable. Judge is too. But the push, are they capitalizing enough on Ohtani? They can do a lot more, but Ohtani brings enough to where baseball's still going to win. And the World Series of Yankees-Dodgers here is going to be spectacular, no matter if you hate the Yankees and Dodgers and what the big type of roster payouts and what that stands for. I'm here for it, man, and I'm pulling for Ohtani to win this title and see what he can do. And you're right to point out the fact we haven't seen him on the mound this year, and we're still discussing this and the type of run he's been on. Runners in scoring position, runners on base, and the production that he brings is insane.
His average is the best of his career this season. And I mean, we can get McHenry's thoughts on this tomorrow, but
yeah,
I just like I can't even think of a matchup if we get Yankees Dodgers World Series that MLB could even dream of having, like anything that would even come close to that in the last 25 years from the two teams that make it all the way. I don't even.
And it will not. It doesn't come close to comparison of the Subway Series that everyone's discussing, the possibility. Like the number in theory, yes, the numbers were great in on the East Coast, but nationally that World Series was down like I believe the number was like 15%, 20% compared to what we've seen whenever we've seen the coastal matchups, right?
We showed the stats earlier for the international views, at least for Japan. And I mean, just imagine what that will do if he does make it to the World Series.
Yeah. Waking up early in Japan. 10% of the country. And now that will only grow, by the way.
Yeah.
You're going to – I can't wait for the numbers to come out here for this series and then the World Series potential there. Speaking of GOATs, you've got Tom Brady, the GOAT, right? The brand, #GOAT. He's now #owner, 10% owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. And you've got Kirk Minihane of Barstool with two sources discussing who apparently Brady wants to bring in as the next coach.
I'll just say this. I won't get specific. People have told me that Brady's first move is going to ask Bill Belichick if he's interested in being coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Two sources have told me that. Two high up in the Patriots organization have told me that.
Two sources in the Patriots organization. That's intriguing. It was also two sources, I believe the reporting was last season that there was going to be an out between Kraft and Belichick, right? I hear this and I think, why? To me, that doesn't fit the Las Vegas Raiders for what they need right now. Going to have a brand new quarterback. I guess we would see Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator with Bill Belichick. I mean, long term, what's the role of letting Bill Belichick build that roster? Brady's going to have a big hand in the football operations and decisions, according to reports. They're going to lean on his opinion for what they do with this roster. That's great. I just assumed the two weren't seeing eye to eye. The Brady roast comes to mind, by the way. The fact that they were on stage together and Belichick was there and they had to hug it out or whatever they did on stage. It was awkward. It was a little weird. It was a cool moment because it was awkward. And, maybe they're fine now. But at every turn, it felt like there was a little friction. And I don't know. It's going to take more than just two sources out of New England to get me to believe this. Davey, I'm taking into account the relationship at the end of 2019 when you knew that Brady was out, right? And the fact that he's not mentioning Belichick, to my knowledge, if I'm recalling this right, in his thank you to the Patriots.
I don't recall that occurring. I think you're right on that.
They didn't. Belichick wasn't there or whatever whenever his final day was.
Yeah. I don't buy this report. Well, I buy these people are probably telling Kirk this is what they think. I don't buy the thought process of Tom Brady wanting to bring in Bill Belichick to help bring the Raiders back. I look at the Raiders right now, and while I'm never a big fan, except for very rare occasions, of just promoting the interim head coach, as soon as the Raiders made Antonio Pierce their full-time head coach, it's like, this guy's going to be out in a couple of years. So Brady will likely have
and Mark Davis knew, by the way, that Brady was they'd already agreed to an offer in 2023, right? And he had to restructure the offer because the rest of the owners felt like it was a sweetheart deal.
Yeah.
There it is. This is Brady's new look, by the way. This is Brady hiring Belichick.
That's good. The thing for me with Brady is, I mean, he's a smart guy. No one's going to dispute that, to where I like Bill Belichick, but I think Bill Belichick plays a style of football that's in the past, and I don't see Brady wanting to embrace that as he's looking to move forward with the Raiders and having that franchise take off. I mean, there's a lot that they need whenever you look at a prominent head coach. They don't really have any weapons when you think about it outside of Brock Bowers. And the biggest position of need right now is a quarterback. And Mark Davis has already said, hey, he's going to help us he's going to have a say in helping us find that next star quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders.
But if Brady's building the Patriot way culture, which again, he was big in that. We saw what happened when he wasn't there. You go with what you know and what won championships, and it was that duo, that pair. Brady's not going to be there on a day-to-day basis, right? Belichick would be, although that would also require Belichick being the general manager, right? And the end of Belichick in New England was, not great.
I just don't.
Not great with what they brought in.
I would be surprised if Belichick is able to accept the idea of running the team as just the coach and only the coach.
No, he won't do that.
He won't do that. And I just, if I'm an owner, I don't want to give him that.
That's why he's not in Atlanta. He's not in Atlanta because of that. Jacksonville makes sense to me for Bill Belichick. We know it's not going to be the Jets.
Yeah,
based on
his
comments. He was mentioned on the coaching hot list that could be the next Jets head coach when Saleh got fired. He put that to bed fast on the Manning cast.
Really, any AFC East teams, I think his time with that division is done. I mean, but I'm not going to lie, great TV, just sitting there watching Bill Belichick just trash his former rivals. I was here for it.
Yep.